Hello students, welcome back to another how-to video. So this one is a little bit different than usual. This one is about how to start your college search. So I know a lot of my students are sophomores, some of you are even freshmen. There are some juniors. I don't have a lot of seniors, so I know some of you are thinking like, start my college search. Why would you tell me to start my college search when I'm a freshman or a sophomore? Well, it is never too early to start thinking about your college search because the main way that you should pick your college is based on what you want to go there for. So for me, if I know I want to be a math teacher, I should look for schools that are good at teaching people how to be math teachers. If I go to a school that does not do a good job of teaching people how to be math teachers, well, poop. Now I paid a lot of money to go to a college that isn't going to teach me to do what I want to do. So, you want to figure out what you want to do first, and then pick a college. But that doesn't mean that you can't start looking at what majors colleges have to offer. So, behind me, right up here on the screen, you can see I made this back in my senior year of college. September of my senior year of college is when I made this. Let's zoom in on it a little bit more. So, these are These are all of the important things that you want to think about when you go to look at colleges. Now, do you need to gather all of this information right now? No, of course you don't. But if you are like, I have no idea where to start, I think I want to go to college. I know I want to go to college. I know nothing about it. For me, my parents didn't go to a 4-year university. So when I went to apply, they were like, I don't know how this works. Good luck figuring it out. So I had to figure out a lot of it myself, and it can be a little bit stressful. So I am here to help you so that you don't have to stress out trying to figure out everything. So the important things that you want to look at when you're looking at schools, of course, you're going to look at a lot of different schools. I think I looked at, I don't know how many this is. We could count. This is at least 10 or 12 colleges or something like that. Do they have your major? Your major is what you're focusing on in college. So in college, I focused on math. I was a math major. And then when I got my math degree and I moved on to my master's, in my master's, I was an education major. I was a teaching major. So your major is what you focus on. If you want to go into nursing, you would be a biology major or maybe a nursing major, like depending upon what you want to go into. But yeah, do they have your major? What is the name of the major at that specific university? Because some have different programs. Some of them you need to get a degree in like biology and then you move on to a nursing program or something like that. So, what do they call the major at this university? Where is it located? You might not think this matters, but if you go to a college like Central Washington University, that is in Ellensburg, in a rural neighborhood out in the middle of nowhere, basically. Not a lot to do out there, a lot of open fields, which is not a bad thing, but it's very different than Bellingham, where I went to school. There was a lot of things to do. There was a bowling alley, there was the water right nearby, there was a lake and a boathouse and things like that. So this is like near a lot of mountains. If you like snowboarding or something, like location is a good thing to consider when you're thinking about what college you want to go to. If you want to be close to home, like I chose Bellingham because it was only 2 hours away from where I'm from, which is around the Auburn area. Whereas if you go out to Spokane is like 6 hours away from the Auburn area. So depends on, like, do you have a car? Are you going to drive back and forth there? Are you going to need to take a bus? Or are you going to need to fly out there? Like, so if location is important to you, maybe you want to find some place closer to home. Endowment. I had no idea what this was until somebody told me. What the endowment is that means how much money does the school have to give out scholarships. Now, this is old. All of this information is old, so it has not been updated. Back in 2014, Western Washington University had $51 million to give away for scholarships. So, the more money that a school has to give out scholarships, the better chance you have of getting a scholarship and getting more scholarships. So if we look at a school like Central Washington University only has about $17 million to give away in scholarships. That's almost a third of what Western has to give out scholarships. So it's possible, I'm not saying that the more endowment, the more scholarships you get, because that's not necessarily true. But it gives you an idea of how much money they have to give away. Gonzaga, 161 million. That's like 3 times what Western has, you feel me? So, and if we go down to, where is it? Let's see. Where's University of Washington, Seattle? I couldn't even put the commas in here. What is that? That is $2 billion. UW, back in 2014, had $2 billion to give away for scholarships. So, yeah. It's interesting to look at. Remember that just because this number is bigger does not necessarily mean that you will get more scholarships. Number of undergrad students. So this is something to think about if you want to go to a big school. Maybe you want to go someplace where there are 14,000 students. There's tons of people. You can meet everybody. Or maybe you're like, I really don't like people. I don't want to go to a school where the campus is, 80 miles wide and there's 1 million people. Maybe you want to go somewhere where there's only 1,400 students. Maybe you want to go to a smaller college. So it's important to get this information so that you know how big is this school that I'm going to. Are there a lot of people or are there a few people? Percentage of students' full financial need met. What this means is how many students, so say that you are in need, which there's a document. You have to fill out some paperwork that determines how much need you have. So you can't just say, yeah, I need $30,000, please. Like you can't do that. You have to fill out the FAFSA, which I can talk about in a later video if you want. If you want the FAFSA video, put it, comment or something saying, yes, give me the FAFSA video. But say the FAFSA tells you, yeah, you need $20,000. Like you are in need of $20,000. The percentage of students that actually get their full need met, that actually get the full $20,000 they need, is only 15%. So only 15% of students that need $20,000 actually get the full $20,000. So that's not a very good percentage. 15 is pretty small. Like 44, Central Washington University has 44. That is much better. Almost half of the students that need $20,000 get the full $20,000. But here, if you look at the average percentage of need met, which means that all of us, you, me, and 3 of our buddies, we all need $20,000. Well, we might not get the full $20,000 because only 15% of people get the full $20,000, but we're going to get 92% of that $20,000, which is a lot of our need. It's like, sure, we still have 8% that we're not getting, but that is pretty close to 100%. So the average percentage of need met, so the average percentage of money that everybody who's in need gets is 92% of what they need. Average. Some people get 100%, some people get 75%, but that's a good number. You want a higher number for that one. Okay, next thing to look at is the percentage of applicants accepted. So this is, of the people that apply to this college, how many actually get in? So if this percentage is really small, that means that not a lot of people are getting accepted to this college. Whereas if this number is really big, that means that if you apply, you have a 78% chance of getting accepted. Depending upon your grades and stuff, right? If you have really good grades, you're definitely getting in. But if you have like average grades, C's and B's, this is the percentage of how many people are accepted. So if we look at Western and Central both have 78% of people who apply accepted. But if we go down to UW, where is it? University of Washington, only 55% of students are accepted. Because so many people apply to UW that only half the people that apply actually get in. So this is nice to look at too, because look at that, 94%, 97%, oh my goodness. So the higher that number, the more likely you are to get into that college. You don't have to put down, like, you don't have to have this information, but if a college is has a religious affiliation, what that means is that it is a Christian university or it is a Catholic university. Does that mean that you have to be a Christian or a Catholic to go there? No. No. I have friends that go to Pacific Lutheran University that are not Lutheran. They're not religious, but they still go to that college. You do not have to be religious to go to a religious university. Sometimes we call them private colleges. If they have a religious association, they are a private college. The pros of private colleges is that typically they're smaller. Like, look, only 3,000 students go to PLU versus Western Washington is a public university and there are 14,000 students that go there. So, pros to private schools is that they're smaller. Sometimes they have better programs because they're smaller. The cons are that they cost quite a bit more. So this was back in 2014. Prices have increased since then. But back in 2014, it was $43,000 per year. Per year. Not for the full 4 years. Per year, it was $43,000. Whereas Western was $19,000. So Western and Central were half the price of PLU. And that's because it's a private university. They don't get federal funding for their college. Or maybe they do, but it's a little bit. It's not as much as public universities. So they have to charge a lot more in order to keep their school running. Now, don't look at those prices and go, well, not going to a private college. Because private colleges typically have a larger endowment, too. Look at how much money PLU has to give away. They have $80,000 to give away. Or excuse me, $80 million to give away. Whereas Central only has $16 million to give away. So typically, if you go to a private university, you can get more scholarships. My husband, Mr. Dodge, applied to Western Washington University and Pacific Lutheran University. Those were his two schools that he applied to. And actually, with how many scholarships he was offered for both of these, they came out to about the same price because he got so many scholarships from PLU that $43,000 got taken down to like $15,000, and then he got scholarships from Western that took the $19,000 down to $15,000. So it was basically going to be the same cost because he got so many scholarships. It just came down to which one did he want to go to. So yes, there are pros and cons to private universities. Don't just write them off because, oh, it's private, it costs a lot of money, I'm not going there. You can get scholarships. You can definitely get scholarships. Especially if you have good grades. A lot of colleges, they say, oh, you had a 4.0 GPA? Take $3,000. Like, and private universities will offer you even more if you have, like, a 4.0 GPA. You don't need a 4.0 GPA, 3.5, 3.0. Like, you get less money. The better your grades, the more money you get, which is why grades are important. Start thinking about your grades now. If you're like, oh, I'm fine with a C, and then you get to your senior year and you're like, oh, poop. No, I need a better GPA. I need a better GPA. I need more money for college. Like, so start now. Keep your grades high now. Yes. So cost is another thing to look at. Cheaper does not mean better, right? Just like with the shoes that you buy, you pay more money for better shoes. So cost is something to think about. If you can't afford a crazy, like, you know, a super expensive college that's $42,000 a year, then yeah, look at some public universities. I went to Western, it's a public university, and I got a very good education for about this price instead of paying $42,000 a year. So don't feel bad for like, oh, I gotta go to a poor kid college. Like, no. All college kids are poor because college costs so much money. So don't worry about that. Other things that you want to look at? Notable opportunities. Maybe you really want to play basketball in college. Maybe it is super important to you that you play basketball in college. Well, should you apply to a college that doesn't have a basketball team? No. that would suck. You really want to play basketball in college. So these are other things that maybe things that you're really interested in, that I will not go to this college if they do not have a basketball team, you know, or something like that. I didn't play sports in college. I didn't want to play sports in college, so I didn't look at any of that. But what I looked at was work study. Work study means that if you work, they will pay for some of your college. Like, instead of paying you money, they'll take the money that you would get from working and they put it towards your college costs. So I work in like the office, in like the admissions office. I work filing papers or something, and they will take money off of my tuition because I'm working. So work study is very good. Very good. So I looked at what, if a college offered work study, I wrote that down because I was very interested in that. Yeah, degree in math education, internships abroad, study abroad. Not all colleges offer study abroad opportunities. What study abroad means is that maybe you want to major in Spanish or a different language. Maybe you want to major in German. A study abroad program would allow you to go to Germany for a quarter, and you would take classes through your college, but you would be in Germany while you took them. And it doesn't just have to be if you're a language major. Maybe you're a speech language pathologist major or something. Maybe you're studying hearing and how that works. Maybe you can go study abroad at, you know, another university that is also doing cool research on that. Whatever. But study abroad means that you are studying abroad, like across seas or in a different country. And that can be a really cool opportunity, especially if you want to travel the world, but trying to do it without, you know, if you're like, I want to go to Italy, like just trying to figure out how to fly there and where you're going to stay and what you're going to do, like that's super overwhelming and complicated. But study abroad, if you study abroad, it kind of puts it all there for you. Like, here's where you're going to go, here are the places you're going to stay, like you're paying money for like the whole package deal. So studying abroad can make traveling easier. So yeah, if that's something that you're really interested in, you're like, dang, I definitely want to study abroad, go to a college that offers study abroad programs. Crew club, this was a Christian club. I'm a Christian, so I looked for those types of clubs because I wanted something like that when I went to college. That was very important to me. So I looked for colleges that had like kind of a church club that I could go to. Yeah, you can find, and I'm going to show you, you can find a list of like all the clubs that exist. Western Washington University had a Beyonce club. They had a salsa club, which, well, they had two different salsa clubs. They had salsa dancing, and then they had salsa eating, like literally where they just ate different salsas every Tuesday. And the school gave them money to buy the salsa. Yeah, there are tons of different clubs. Study abroad programs, good theater department. I thought that I wanted to be like in musicals and in choirs and things like that. So those were things that I looked for when I was going to college. So yeah, Eastern Washington University has some choral groups. They have drama theater, musical theater. Yeah, student ministries. That's the church stuff I talked about. Yeah, chapels, campus ministry. So those were the things that I looked for, basically. Oh yeah, honors societies. That was something I was interested in. Yeah, maybe I worked in a writing center and I thought I wanted to do that again. Yeah, international programs to study abroad, things like that. So that's the type of stuff that I looked for. But again, this is something like, if you really want there to be a Quidditch team, yes, those exist. If that is very important to you, that there is a Quidditch team at your college of choice, write that down and like make sure you write down, darn it, this school doesn't have Quidditch. Except Western does, because I saw them practicing a lot, and it was very fun to watch. But, yes, so this template, I am going to put an empty template of this in, I guess, in a link in the description of this video. It'll be in my Google Drive, so anybody that's a part of the Auburn School District will have access to it. If you're not part of the Auburn School District, sorry, this video's for my students. But yes, I will leave a blank template of this so that you can fill in the schools and you can fill in all this information. Now I know what you're thinking. Mrs. Dodge, how in the world am I supposed to find all of this information? I'm so glad you asked. So the way that you find this information, of course, the school names, I mean, there are just lists upon lists of schools. Another thing to think about is, do you want to be in state or do you want to be out of state? And we can talk about pros and cons of that in a tiny little bit. But so the way that you can find this information is, let's switch on over to this screen. So we are at US News Best Colleges website. And here you can look at a ton of different schools. So if we scroll down, oh, that's college advice. Where was it? Somewhere in here it says like other colleges like this, like other people who looked at this looked for. So if you'll remember on the other document that we showed with all the information, you needed to find out the cost. Well, here is the price. So your cost to go to college comprises of your tuition and fees. That's like what pays for your classes. And then room and board is like the price for living in the dorms and having a meal plan. So those are two separate costs. If you move out of the dorms, you're like, I don't want to live in the dorms anymore, and you get an apartment off campus, you do not have to pay this room and board. This number, oh, whoops. Don't click on that. You don't have to pay this number. You only have to pay the tuition, and then you'll pay for all your apartment stuff separately. So if you add these up together, the $8,000 plus the $11,500, you're looking at $19,500 each year. And check it out, this is 2020 statistics. So remember that my document was for all the information from 2014. This is current information. So yeah, it'll show you tuition and fees, room and board. Look at that, it even tells you when the application deadline is, which of course you're not applying yet, but it's good to have a feel. For some colleges require that you apply by November, like end of November or beginning of December. So like your senior year, you need to be done applying to, like I think UW's deadline is sometime in November or December, like it's early. For Western, you don't have to have your application in until almost February, like the end of January, which is a lot later than the beginning of December. That's like a 2-month difference. But yeah, so this has this website, and you can look up a lot of different colleges. Like, yeah, look at that. National universities, compare colleges, college search. This website, which I will put a link in the description, has so much information. Now, ranking. Take the ranking with a grain of salt. Remember that your rankings will be different than this website's ranking, because maybe you care about having a basketball team, and this website isn't thinking about the basketball team at all. So don't look at like, I need to go to the #1 college, or I need to go to a college in the top 50. Like, don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. So goodness. Overview, rankings, photos, admissions. This has so much information. But if you're just looking to fill in the information on our chart that we were looking at, like the majors that it has, the location, the size of the endowment, and things like that, all of that can be found on this website. So undergraduate enrollment of 15,170, so that's the number of undergraduate students. Setting is suburban. Public institution, so it's not religiously affiliated. Quarter-based academic calendar. That's another thing, that some colleges are on the semester system and some are on the quarter system. So at Western, you have fall, winter, spring, quarter, and you take different classes in fall quarter, winter quarter, and spring quarter. But at other colleges, trying to think of one, but they're at other colleges, you have fall semester and spring semester. So at Western, I took 4 classes, 3 or 4 classes each quarter, and in a semester you take like 6 classes each semester. So pros and cons to that too. Pros and cons to that too. We can definitely talk more if you're like, which one is better? What are the pros and cons? Like, we can talk about that some other time. But yes. So here's another thing. In-state tuition and fees are $8,000. Out-of-state tuition and fees are $22,000. Out-of-state colleges are much more expensive. And the reason for that is because you're not a resident in that state, and that's how they get funding, so they have to charge you more. It's confusing. You can read more about it if you want to. But if you are trying not to spend a lot of money by going to college, in-state is better. And if you're planning on doing Running Start, and I know some of my students are planning on doing Running Start, if you go to an out-of-state college, your credits from Running Start might not transfer. And then you did Running Start for nothing. Well, not for nothing, but you know, you do Running Start to get the free college, basically. So, those are other things to consider with in-state, out-of-state. Yes. So, yeah, school type, public, year founded, 1893, that is old. Religious affiliation, none. Order system, hey, look, there's that endowment that we were looking for. Goodness, my numbers said 51 million. It is now 85.2 million. So, woohoo! Yeah, rankings. Oh, wow, salaries. Median starting salary of an alumni is $52,000. That's not bad, that's good. Oh, look at that, you can look by major. So you can look at their majors and things. Another thing I like is that it links to the school website. So this, if you click on this, it will take you directly to Western Washington's University's website. Now, of course, I'm just showing you stuff about Western because I went to Western and I'm most familiar with it. I am not saying that you need to go to Western. It's not necessarily the best school for you. Their computer science program, not the best. Sorry, Western. It's fine, but it's not the best. So if you really want like a good computer science degree, you're looking at UW. You know, you're looking at a different college. So, yeah, I'm not in any way saying that you need to go to Western Washington University. But again, let's see, if I just type in Western Washington University, if you do this with any college, if you just type in the name of the college into Google, oh, look at that, majors, admissions, departments, programs, apply. All the information is right here for you. So if you want to look at, do they have my major? What majors do they offer? Let's go look. Oh my goodness, here are all the majors they offer. Oh my goodness. So this is also if you're like, wow, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I don't even know if I want to go to college. What would I study if I went to college? Well, here are all the things that you can study at Western. Other colleges might have even longer lists, but look at that. You can study accounting, anthropology. You can get a mix of anthropology and biology, art studio, art history, art elementary, interesting, biology, business administration, management concentration. Oh, concentrations mean like what specific part of business administration did you go for? Mathematics, bachelor's or Bachelor of Science. So yeah, BA is Bachelor of Arts, BS is Bachelor of Science. Which one you get depends on what job you want to get with it. So you don't have to worry about that for later. But look at all this. Music performance, music education, physics, pre-dentistry, pre-law, pre-medicine, pre-physical therapy, psychology, sociology. That's a good one to get if you want to be a police officer, I hear. Because I worked with security up at Western. Urban planning and sustainable development. Wow, look at all these programs. Oh my goodness. So yeah, you can look through these, and you can look through other colleges have this list too. So you can get an idea of like, wow, look at all the things you can study. And then if you're like, anthropology, that sounds interesting. What the heck does an anthropologist do? That's when you start emailing people and asking like, hey, what the heck does an anthropologist do? You teach anthropology. What can you do with this? Job shadowing is a great way to learn more about a job, because when I was in high school, I was like, hey, maybe I want to be a math teacher. I don't know. I went to a high school and I sat in the classroom of a math teacher and I watched him teach and I watched him do his job. And then before school, I met with him and I asked him a ton of questions like, do you have a uniform that you have to wear? Like, what is it like doing your curriculum? How much freedom do you have in your class? You know, questions that I had about, do I really want to be a teacher or not? So that I would highly, highly, highly recommend that if you're like, yeah, I really want to be a dentist, ask your dentist, hey, could I job shadow you sometime? Or could I email you some questions that I have about being a dentist? Like how much college did it require? How many years were you in school to be a dentist before you actually got to be a dentist? How much money do you make? Like the question, yeah, ask all your questions. Like job shadowing is a great way to determine, yes, I want to do this job, or no, that would not be any fun for me. So yeah, you can look at the majors. If you go to admissions, this will tell you everything that you need to do. Yeah, most of you would be first years. This will tell you everything that you need to do for your application. So this is the application you do. Deadlines, early action. Look at that application checklist. So this is everything that you need to do to apply. So if we were interested in that, here's everything that we need to do. High school transcripts, the application. You got to pay some money, but if you can't afford it, there's a fee waiver that might be available. And then yeah, look at that. Look at that. All the information that you would need is right here. And again, I'm looking at Western because I went to Western and I'm familiar with their website. But you can do this with any college. If we typed in Central Washington University, the same thing is going to pop up. And we could go to their website and look at all that. Remember that this website, where was it? There was a place where it said, yeah, students also applied to Central Washington University, Seattle University. So I think if I clicked on this, it would take me to Central Washington University. And now look, I have all the information about Central. And look at that, year founded 1891, they're on the quarter, they're rural, their endowment is to 23.8 million, and there's a link to their website. But yeah, when we Google it, look at that, degrees and programs, apply, admissions, all the same information. Yeah, we could do the same thing. We could do the same thing with the University of Washington, and I guarantee you the exact same things will pop up. So yeah, the main thing that I recommend when, yeah, look at that, admissions, academic departments, booyah, booyah, booyah. So the main thing that I recommend when starting your college search is just to fill this table out. What colleges have you heard of? What you're like, Northern Arizona University, I heard that one, I might want to go there, cool. Just look up some more information about it. Remember that if you're looking at a college out of state, you'll be paying the out-of-state tuition. So when you go to look at annual cost, the number will be the out-of-state tuition. If it's a college in-state, in the state of Washington, then you look at the in-state cost. Yeah. And then filling out this table and looking at their like opportunities helps you decide, wow, okay, basketball actually is really important to me. Or you know what? I thought I really wanted to join an ultimate frisbee team, and now it doesn't even really matter. Or maybe I really wanted this club, like I really want there to be a debate team at my college, but maybe it's not that important to me. You know, as you fill out this table, you learn, you get a sense. Because you're doing more research, you get to figure out, oh, this is actually really important to me, or oh, I actually really want this in a college. Maybe it helps you determine your major, because you start looking at majors, and you're like, oh, physical therapy, what does a physical therapist do? And you go job shadow, and you're like, oh my gosh, physical therapists are geniuses. This is so cool, I want to be a physical therapist. Or maybe you job shadow them, and you go, I'm sorry, you need a PhD to be a physical therapist, which, yes, you do, actually. I didn't know that, but you do. And you're like, I don't want to go get a PhD. I don't want to get a doctorate. That's a lot of years of school. Physical therapy is not for me. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's never too early to start filling out this chart. It's never too early to start thinking about what you want to do in college. Now, if you're a freshman, do you need to decide right now what you want to do in college? No, of course you do not. If you're a freshman, don't like fill all this out and being like, I am going to be a ophthalmologist, like I will become it. Like, you don't need to decide that right now. But it's never too soon to start thinking about it. So again, like I said, I will leave a blank template of this in a link in the description so that you can start your own college search. And as always, if you ever have any questions about this, please contact me. If you're in the Auburn School District, you know my email address. And if you're watching this and you're not my student, maybe a friend shared it with you or something, still contact me. I am more than happy to help you with your college search. College helps you so much in life. If I hadn't gone to college, the like amount of money that I made would be much less, and I wouldn't be a teacher. Like you can't become a teacher without going to college. So, college does wonderful things for you, and it can be a lot of fun if you take a hold of all the opportunities. So yeah, thank you for watching, and again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.